Howdy all, lovely to see you all again. I promised my buddy Matt Kenny a million years ago that I'd do Unchain The Night by Dokken. Here it is, it's finally here, so enjoy it guys, let's take a look. So this particular Dokken song, they're in E flat, which is E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and an E flat at the bottom. So get yourself in tune and we'll get started. Okay, let's take a look at the first section. I've got to slide into 8 of the second string, and I go to 7, and then I work my way to 9 of the third. I'm picking everything. Then I sort of reverse my steps, but I want to do a hammer on from 7 to 8 on the second string. I do that hammer on, and then I do that big bend on 10 of the second and add a little vibrato, or you can whammy it if you've got the option. So thus far, now work into this. Let's slow that down. So what I've got here is a hammer on from 12 to 13 on the second, and then I want to pluck the 12 again as a single note. Hammer on, pick again. And then what I do here is a hammer on from 10 to 12, pulling off back to 10, and then I slide to 8. So I'll play that all a little bit slower. So go from the little chunk before it now. Okay, thus far this is what we should have from the top. And it goes. Let's slow this down. I'm going from 9 of the 4th, so there's a bit of a string skip here. So I'm playing 9 of the 4th, and then a pull off from 8 to 7 on the second. And then I roll my pointer to 7 of the third. So nice and slow again. It's a bit of an awkward roll, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad. Okay, then I roll it back down. So after I've hit that 7 of the third, I go back down to 7 of the second, and then I slide that back to 5, so it'll go. Okay, as soon as I finish that, I want to roll from 5 of the second string to 5 of the third, so it'll go. And at the end of that, I want to drop back down to 5 of the second string. And I think it's a bit of whammy on the album, but if you're lame like me, just do a bit of vibrato. So we've got. That's the whole first section. Let's try it nice and slow. Okay, moving on to the second section. Initially when I started doing this, I thought it was all shredded with sort of, a Racer X style feel. But George is actually, I'm relatively sure, legatoing this. So what I'm going to do is go through the 6-note pattern slowly, and then we'll talk about ways to speed it up and do all 9 of those ideas in succession. So I'm playing 7, 8, 10 on the second, legato, so I just pluck the first note, and then I play hammer on the other 2, and then jump to 7 of the first. And then to finish off that group of 6, or the 2 triplets in a row, I'm doing a pull off from 10 to 8 on the second. And we do that exact same thing 9 times in a row. Then work into all that other business. We'll worry about that later. Now, initially when I start that, I've got a down pick to lead in that hammer on section, but as soon as I hit the first string, you'll notice that I'm doing this sweep thing. So I'm just going like this. Sounds a little bit silly without the rest of it, but that's the idea that I'm doing, to keep the speed and the legato up. As soon as I hit the first string, I sweep back, and I just wait for that legato to go 10, 8, and then start with that 7, 8, 10 moving forward again before I jump back down to the first string. So I've only got one sort of down pick, and then the rest of it was just sort of that backward sweep motion. work on that, have a bit of a fiddle and get your head around it. As I said, we want 9 altogether. Then we work into this next phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm going to start from 7 of the 2nd string and then go to 9 of the 3rd. Keeping this section nice, just a little bit muted to keep it aggressive. So 7 of the 2nd, 9 of the 3rd, and then 8 of the 2nd, 9 of the 3rd. Okay, then after that I want to do a slide from 7 to 5 on the 2nd string. So I go. Okay, then from there I work into this scaly bit. So let's work it from, we'll start from 9 of the 3rd. Eventually we want to end on 4 of the 4th string for this, so we'll slow it down. We want to go 9 of the 3rd, 5, and then 7. So I'm going to go 9, 5, 7, and then jump to 9 of the 4th string. Okay, then after that I'm jumping to 5 of the 3rd, so it'll go. Okay, then I go. So I'll slow this down. I'm playing 9, 5, 7, 4. So it'll go. From the start of this little group now, a little slower. One more time. And we just work into this phrase. So what I'm doing here is a little sort of slightly diminished idea. I'm playing 7 of the 4th, and then 6 of the 5th, and then 4 of the 4th. Okay, then I want to jump back to 6 of the 5th. I'm going to play it as a single note, and then a slight bend. So a single note, slight bend, and then a vibrato. So I go. That's sort of 3 notes in a row, all on 6 of the 5th. We're just sort of expressing it slightly differently. So I'll go. Alright, let's go from the little legato measure at the front. We'll just take it a little bit slower. Okay, let's take a look at the 3rd section. I want to do a big bend on 17 of the 1st. And then sort of bend it down slightly and then hit it again and give it a bit of vibrato. Okay, then after that I work into this. Let's slow that down. To the start of that, I'm going 12, 14, 15 on the 1st string, and then I hit 15 again and bend it up. Okay, then I bring it back down and then pull off to the 14. So I'll do that slowly. And then I want to jump back to that 15. So I bend it up and back, pull off to the 14, and then do an emphatic pick on the 15th fret. So then I go. So what I've got there is a pull off from 14 to 12, and then I play 14 again. So that'll be another pick. Pull off. So we've got. Notice the pulse of that and the emphasis is sort of coming back on that high 3rd note. It's kind of got a bit more oomph in it. So let's try it from the start of the section, nice and slow. At the end of that I go. What I've got there is a hammer on 12, 14, 12 as a hammer on into a pull off, and then I want to resolve that on 13 of the 2nd string. And that's all of the 3rd section, so let's try it a little bit slower. Okay, the last section I'm using a bit of a Greg Howe technique where we're doing hammer-ons to a string above without actually plucking them. So what I've got here is a pull-off from 13 to 12 on the 1st string, sorry, the 2nd string, then I hammer back to the 13 and then pull off to the 12. So we're going 13, 12, 13, 12 all in one pick. And then what I'm doing there is playing 15 of the 15 of the 3rd rather, and then I'm just hammering into that. If that kind of makes sense, I'm just hammering to that string above without actually plucking it. So we're going hammering to that, and and then I go back to the 12 of the second string, and then I hammer in to start the new phrase. So I guess we're working once again with relatively fast triplets or a group of 6. So we're going, and I want to do that exact same idea 3 times in a row. Okay, and then the last one goes. So the last group of 6 goes a pull off from 13 to 12, then I hammer to 15 and pull off to 12, then hammer to 15 again and pull off back to 12. So the last group of 6 goes. So the same thing 3 times, but the 4th one's a little different. Okay, then after that I'm working to this bluesy phrase. So what I'm doing here is a big bend on 15 of the second string, and I play 12 of the first, and then I do a pull off from 15 to 12 on the second, so I go. Then I go. So what I do here is a bend up and back on 14 of the third and then pull off to the 12. So I go. At the end of that I just play 14, 12 as just regular notes. Okay, so let's try and put the whole thing together thus far, and there's one more little bit at the end. Okay, hopefully that's all making sense, and we're working to this. Okay, the start of that, I'm picking all these notes, 12, 13, 14 on the 4th string, and I go. What I've got here is a hammer on from 13 to 14 on the 3rd string, and then I go back to 12 of the 3rd. So all together, so I'm going 12, 13, 14 on the 4th, 12 of the 3rd string, and that little hammer on phrase. Then I go. So what I've got here is a hammer on from 14 to 15 on the 3rd, and then a pull off from 15 to 12 on the 2nd. Okay, and after that I go. What I'm doing on the 3rd string now is 15, 14, 12, 14, all in one pick. So mostly pull offs and then a quick hammer on at the end. Okay, so from the start of this little chunk, then the end of it goes. Nice delicious bend up and back on 17 of the 1st. And I play 15 of the 1st and then 17 of the 2nd with a bit of vibrato to finish. Alright, let's go from the start of the section nice and slow. And that's the Unchain the Night solo. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. Catch you real soon.